What is up, team? Welcome to the Huddle, the number one flooring podcast, or podcast in flooring, as I usually would say. We're here every week to help you gain forward progress in your career. Simply put, we're here to help you win. For all our new viewers, welcome to the team. Today is a awesome podcast. We're really excited to bring you the topic of why the trades matter, and specifically flooring as a career path. With me this week, we have some special guests, Miss Kay Whitener, Chad Swift, and Adam Miller. Did I say everybody's name right?
You did. You did. Good job,
Good.
Paul.
All right. One for one. Um, so wanted to give everybody a quick chance. Jose is going to join us maybe a little bit later, but Daniel, the staple of the huddle, and wanted to go around the room, maybe introduce ourselves. Why don't we start with you, Kay? Tell us a little bit about you and the FCEF and what your guys' mission is there.
Okay. Well, thanks, Paul, for having me. I'm Kay Whitener. I'm Executive Director of the Floor Covering Education Foundation. 42 years this year in the industry, second generation. So spent a little time. I always joke and tell everybody I started when I was 2. But, that was a little funnier years ago. It doesn't get quite the laughs it does today. I mean, I think they're just like, yeah, right, right. So the Floor Covering Education Foundation was put together to address the installation crisis or labor shortage for the floor covering industry. As a second generation person, I can tell you guys, we did not really have a big, strong influence out for the next generation to even consider our industry or even know we exist. As I think Jim Aaron has used the example many a times that when he spoke to a group that were going into skilled trades, is that even a thing? So we knew that that's not uncommon. We would hear it a lot of times, but I think we've been extremely successful in being able to put some great programs in place and at least let a new generation know we exist. So we were put together to bring about awareness of the industry, recruit, scholarship training, and help with job placement.
Awesome. Well, just as a side note to what you just said, we ran a survey a few years back and asked actual installers if they're certified or not, and if they were not, why not? And the answer was they didn't know how, they didn't even know where to go. Like, who does that? So even people in the trade, we've come a long way since then, but the awareness of flooring, which blows my mind when you think of the labor value in the flooring industry, is around 21 to 25 billion dollars of flooring labor, not the materials, just the labor side, and we're that unknown. So anyway, just a sidebar there. Chad, how about you introduce yourself, and you brought Adam along with you, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about him as well. So kick us off, buddy.
Yeah, so we're a retail store in Great Falls, Montana. Like Kay, I'm multi-generational. So my grandpa had a tile store in Salinas, California back in the day. Neil, my dad, had a installation business that kind of moved into his garage and moved into a small shop. And about 14 years ago, I moved over there. So just like we'll talk about in the podcast, there's problems that got identified in the business, and one of it was finding quality installers and what that meant. And so through the FCEF, we started a school here at the College of Great Falls, and Adam was part of our second cohort of students. So we had 6 the first time and 7 the second time, and Adam was kind of our shining star out of season 2.
Season 2, I love it. Well, Adam, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, how you ended up finding about the program, kind of what intrigued you. I want to get into your mind a little bit. and
Okay.
and how you ended up finding the opportunity and how that looked for you after as you went through the class and graduated and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name's Adam Miller. I'm from Cambridge, Idaho. It's a little tiny town, kind of in central Idaho. And I'm currently living and working in LaGrande, Oregon, which is on the eastern side of Oregon, not too far from where I'm from. And let's see, I learned about the flooring industry from my dad, who learned it from his dad, who learned it from his stepfather. So my grandpa's stepfather was a tile and stone mason and installation professional, business professional, and he trained my grandfather. My grandfather trained my dad and my uncles. And my dad, since I was little, has been very skilled and very talented at what he does. And I got the privilege to be with him from the time I was just a little kid. Like Kay was saying, when I was 2 years old, I was riding around with my dad doing stuff with him in the truck and drinking my orange juice and watching him bid jobs, and it was awesome. I see all sorts of really, really great things hands on. And when I was, I think, well, probably 14, 15. At 14, I started working the summers on a tile installation crew as a helper, as well as more of like someone that's just there to learn and to grow and to these guys weren't just handing me buckets and handing me mud and telling me to go mix it. They were trying to teach me the basics of tile installation. It was really cool at such a young age to have people that really cared about teaching me and not just handing me tools and telling me to wash them and stuff like that, which was obviously part of it too. But
Yeah.
it was great. I found a great love for it. I did that till I was about 16, and then my family moved to a smaller town, and I ended up working on some farms and different things after that. So I kind of got out of it. And then upon graduating high school in 2022, I started a church mission for Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I was gone for 2 years. And when I returned from that mission taught me a lot about service and helping other people and having value and meaning in your life. And I wanted to do something that could get that kind of life for my family. And I kind of always considered trades, especially something like floor covering, kind of as a backup, something if I ever fell on my face, I could go back to. But when I returned back to Idaho, I was working at a couple of different things. Didn't really feel right, and my dad told me about an apprenticeship program in LaGrande, Oregon. So through Carpet One Eastern Oregon, there is a installation apprenticeship training. The training normally is 2 years, and you're paired with an installer and work side by side with him. And by the end of the program, you have all the necessary tools for installation. You have the opportunity to work for the company and all the basic skills that you need to be a professional and a skilled installer. And when I heard about that, I got really excited and came over here to try it out. I came here in June of this last year, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. When I was doing that, from my dad, I don't know who he heard it from, but from my dad, I heard about the uh, trade training school in Great Falls, Montana, and I applied for a scholarship and was able to get it. And that was really motivating me to go. I left for that in September. When I got to Great Falls, I loved it. It was awesome. It was super cool to be in an environment where everyone is focused on your success, but they're not there to belittle you or compare you to themselves or the other people. They're trying to make you the best version of yourself. It taught me a lot about how to be professional in the way that you work. I think there's a lot of people my age that look at skilled labor as kind of like the people that couldn't cut it in other things in universities or in maybe more of a traditional style education. And Great Falls College opened me up to a lot of the instructors there who are very skilled professionals of what they do. And I got to see how well they run their businesses and how well they present themselves. And it gave me a whole new respect for that type of people, along with my family and the type of people I was raised by. So those are all really positive experiences that have influenced me to continue and work really hard in that program. I really enjoyed it and felt like I was able to learn a lot. And since returning to Oregon to begin this apprenticeship, it's been wonderful. The things I learned in that school have kind of put me on a jump start, at least 6 months ahead of where I would have been. And I really am starting to, I feel like, get a hang of kind of what I'm being asked to do and improving every day. And it's really satisfying. It's really cool.
And are you currently at in the apprenticeship program there in Oregon that you were speaking of earlier?
Yes, I am. And it's something. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please.
It's something unique to this Carpet One. I don't know. I don't think it's a store wide thing. Specifically, this store here in the Grand, and Baker City and Enterprise, Oregon are the stores that provide this apprenticeship training. So it's a fairly new thing. I think it's only been around for maybe the past 5 years or so.
Gotcha. So your experience with the FCEF and the college program, you said kind of jump started you. Do you feel like you went in there? Not only, I mean, you do have a little bit of advantage. I don't want to kudos to your generations of flooring people that really taught you right. Because when I started, I wasn't even a helper. They called us. I was a gopher. Go get me this. Go get me that. Go get me this. Go get me that. And
Go
even
get
that,
tools that don't exist.
yeah, even exactly. Go grab the tile stretcher. This kind of stuff, and they're
Right.
always, obviously they can't play those jokes on you if you know the tools. So, it sounds like it gave you a nice, as you said, jump start in the career as being an apprentice up there. So, I mean, can you tell me a little bit about who was Chad? Were you the trainer at this particular program?
Yeah. So Adam was lucky in the fact that he was in the second year. And so there was 2 instructors. There was me and a guy from Pierce Flooring named Mike Chenard. The first year guys had me the whole way through. So the classwork, the hands-on stuff, I was able to get help from other guys in the industry. But where I was always lacking is I got out of the install trade way earlier because I didn't want to do what my dad did. So I got into construction, right? So I never got past the grab me a bucket, pack that
Clean
down.
my trowel.
Yeah, I never got past any of that. So, we'll talk about it a little later, but I've found over the years that has been a sneaky advantage, actually, when you're talking business to business with a guy that runs his own business as an installer. And there's an advantage to me not being able to tell a guy, hey, move over and let me show you this, But speaking with Adam, we had Mike Chenard, who's had years in the industry and came out of the installation. So that took a lot of pressure off me because I didn't have to find the pattern carpet guy to come in and teach pattern carpet. Mike was there and available. So on those weeks, I would take all the office work, and we were able to split it up week by week, which saved us this last year.
And I want to throw in, if I can, just a minute, if we could replicate what Chad and what Mike have done in Montana and some of the other 35 colleges we're working at, we all win. Getting your dealers involved, getting the local installation crews involved in this training, it's imperative to the successes of the program. I brag a lot, not to his face, because I don't want to give him a bigger head than he's got.
His hat might not fit.
That's right.
Yeah, well,
it's adjustable. We'll get through it.
Yeah, Mike's doesn't have so much problem because his doesn't have any hair to hang on.
That's
to.
right.
But the excitement that these guys show these students when they come in, and the passion. I keep hearing that no matter where we go, the passion that they have in this. It's a beginner level training. It's not meant to be heavily technical. It's meant to really vet you and see if you really want to come into the industry. And, I think what they've been able to replicate, I would love for other dealers to be as involved as they are. They have really made that program successful.
Well, and it's been, the FCEF made it easy for us because this all started from a problem that I wasn't personally experiencing, right? I'm in this industry younger. I'm 38. People in the industry always call me the young guy all the time. But I wasn't struggling with installers. I'm sure Daniel's experienced this, but there's other stores out there that we're the store, they're the installers. The installers are the ones that screw my day up and stuff like that. Well, I came from installers. So I always saw it as a trade. My mom was working nights at the hospital. I would watch my dad inlay elk and trout into inlay sheet vinyl and cove everything. And so when I came from the construction world into this world, I thought of this as a real trade. And I was in finished carpentry. And I still in my head thought flooring installation was one step above that, right? So
Dude, we are just the same. That's how I have it. I say flooring is like the highest hand skill requirement, and then the only one that comes close to that is finish carpentry.
yeah,
I
and I
mean,
even at the time, I mean, I just thought I didn't even give myself enough credit as a pretty handy finish carpenter because of the stuff I'd seen my dad do, you know? So
mhm.
I didn't come into it as a store versus installer. And just naturally, as I progressed in that, we were probably the fifth biggest store in a town of 9 stores when I came in there. And what had really changed our business was getting the installers wanting to work for us, right? And so I never really saw me as running out of installers. If we have 9 crews, half of them are under 40. But I just looked at the industry in general. Every time I'd go to services, they tell you, well, they're 56. Next year, they're 57. There's less and less of them. I thought I would get more support from some of the businesses that were struggling. But everybody's found in their business, there's guys that are complainers and guys that are doers. And there's a million reasons to come up with why your day didn't go out the way it was supposed to be. And one of them could blame it on the installer. Yeah, the job didn't work out. Installer's no good, you know? And we've just never been like that. And so what I was getting at there, and when I was trying to give Kay a little kudos there too, is it took me about 3 years to get the school going. And once it looked like the school was going to go, I had a big problem in the fact that not only did kids need money to go to it, but I needed a curriculum. Well, if you've seen the FCF's curriculum, it is stout. There's no way I could have written that. So if somebody is listening to this and wants to start one in their market, I mean, it's going to take a little product, a little time, a backing from at least probably 2 dealers in your market. But when it comes down to just the curriculum of the SCEF and their support for the students, that's already taken care of if you can get with Kay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this kicks it back to you, Adam, is the curriculum. You already had a little bit of flooring training in some capacity. It sounds like you went from tile, and then obviously FCEF is more of all goods, depending on the program. But tell me, like you already had a little bit of experience, so you're in a bit of a place to be able to judge the curriculum as a student, which is pretty rare. Tell me what you thought of how not only how nice Chad was, and I'm sure he paid you before this to make all these glowing comments about him, but
Oh, he's cheap. He's not going to pay anybody. So don't let him tell you that.
That's too funny, actually.
Sorry, Chad.
But like, what'd you think of the curriculum? You feel like somebody who is new could go in there and really go from, zero to being able to be an efficient, effective apprentice like yourself. I mean, obviously you don't come out of the 10-week program or a multi-week program and you go start your own flooring installation firm or something, but you've been there. Now you're an apprentice. Sounds like you got a good opportunity. Tell me, how was the curriculum? Did you feel like it really moved you along as your skills and your brain?
Oh, absolutely. I think I'm not in a position to say, oh, this was good or this was bad, because I would never consider myself at the level of an installer. I have a lot of respect for people that really understand and take the time to do things right. What I can say is I can be a judge of doing something that you can really be proud to put your name on. My father did a really good job of teaching me that all you really have in this life is your name and your word. So you have to make sure that whatever you do can reflect both those things. And my experience at the college was that. It was exactly what I told it was going to be. I was told it was going to be an opportunity to grow intellectually and get hands-on muscle memory and like a very formal and professional education, learning about every type of floor covering. And that's exactly what it was. I look at someone like, I had a good buddy there. I made WhatsApp the class named Spencer Anderson. And he came in, he was working at Wendy's. He was working nights at Wendy's or at that school. Had no experience at all in any sort of trade, in any sort of anything like that. And I think he did awesome. Like, I thought he really excelled extremely. He paid so much attention to detail. He really was on task and focused, and he come in half asleep sometimes from working all night, and he still excelled exceedingly. Another guy was Marvin. I can't remember what his last name was, but Marvin, same way. He
Kakashi.
was super, super. What was that again?
Kakashi, wasn't it?
Kashi. Yeah, he was awesome. He was keeping up with me the whole time. And I'm not trying to say I was better than anybody else. We're all at different levels. But two guys that go exposure at all and just excelled extremely. I think they would be better examples than I would of really being able to take someone that was at ground zero and taking them to such a higher standard. Holy cow. They did awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the benefits, right? Because you can actually, like Kay said earlier, it's come and try it, see if you even like it before you do it. And then once you start, if you go in there and you're really good at something already, it's like, man, this could be something that I can do for a living, right? We do have a question here from Beth Miller. She said, Adam, what has been the best part of the training you've received so far?
How bad?
Best part of training, including, oh, sorry, what was that?
She was just saying hi to Beth.
Oh, best part of the training I've received so far has probably been, I think, for me personally, would be taking it probably the first few weeks that I returned from Montana back to Oregon, because those first 2 weeks was really to put everything I just learned into practice to see really where I was at, and that was the best part of my training, because those 10 weeks that we had together in Montana was all about exposure and getting as much information into you and as much practice time as you could. So to be able to go out and see, okay, what can I really do? That was really cool. That was probably part that I haven't really talked to anybody else about. Just for me personally to come back and be like, wow, I can see where I was at before and where I'm at now. I definitely improved in a lot of things. And I could right away see, oh, wow, I need a lot more practice in this. Or I do not understand this at all like I thought I did. It's a very humbling experience. You know, you come in, you don't want to act like guns blazing. I own the place. Look at me and all the stuff I just learned. But at the same time, you realize you're at a higher caliber of, I guess, value than you were before. So that was the best part for me.
One thing you're going to learn really quickly is that these installers have no problem promoting themselves. So
That's great.
You'll get the ego with it.
Well,
I wanted to throw in one thing. I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, we got challenged right in the very beginning of creating the curriculum and why we were trying to do carpet, resilient hardwood, and tile. And, you know, I have to rely on my years. I started in commercial, and commercial was, you know, we had to be able to do a lot of different things. I know that working in high-end retail, builder world, and everything, that the installers that actually made a lot of money for me were the ones who could do all of it. You know, you always have a certain category you want to fall into that you love doing, but we wanted them to get an exposure of it, at least all of it, because if we just did carpet, there are some people that don't like carpet at all. And, you know, then if you do LVP, only LVP, they may need to know some of the carpet. So the whole idea was to give them just a kindergarten level experience with it so they could decide. They could really kind of see the industry from all different aspects. And I think that has helped a lot, you know, as we grow. Now, we do have to change a little bit depending on what region we're in. But, you know, I can say from just watching Adam, listening to Chad's phone calls and just bragging about, you know, the work he's doing, there's such a pride when you have somebody like Adam or like Charity that was in Hawkeye, and some of the other students are really excelling in this. This is as far as SCES, these are our fruits of the labor, and we couldn't be prouder of what the work is that we're doing with it.
All right, now we have Mr. Alan Lewis, who everyone knows just won the competition yet again, because that family is crazy skilled, right?
Just crazy.
Yeah.
That's
ridiculously good.
He said that the FCEF is a great, you know, a right foundation for installation. And then he continues saying that he was able to send one of his guys there, and he learns better in a classroom setting because the instructors are more patient, and because you send them on these jobs, and it's not something that you can be like, here, just go do this. And then if they mess it up, sometimes that's the only piece of material you got, right? So it's a lot harder to do it than it is to send them to these classrooms and stuff to be taught. So yeah,
Yeah, I liked his stream of consciousness there as he was posting. It's
right.
like,
Just
yeah, it's like, you know, having recognizing. I mean, I installed for a lot of years, and I still get out there every now and again. Flash coving, heat welding is where I ended up in the resilient world. I started in carpet, but when I would hire helpers when I was a sub, I teaching them something was second. And of course, this is, 25 years ago or so, but teaching them something was second to getting the job done. And so what you do is you turn in, and this is where I think the program really can help, because someone like you, Adam, you wouldn't have to, you could actually contribute. And even if it's in a smaller way than just, hey, go get this, go get that, get this. If you have some hand skills and you've developed some of that in a training, now I have something to build on that you might be able to actually help me get the job done. Just in carpet, just having a guy that knew how to pick up a roll of carpet. This is back before, carpet tile was the only thing that went in on commercial jobs, it seems like, anymore. But being primarily commercial, just find a guy that could pick up carpet and not break my back when he's helping me was a plus. But getting those getting those hand skills and the knowledge base that is provided through a program like this, you can just see it in Roy's comments. It's like, it's scary to do. It's scary to release someone to do almost anything on a job. Like Daniel said, it may be your only piece of carpet for that area, or the last drop, or whatever. I mean, you can't get more, so there's always that fear. And so it's such a higher tension on a job site trying to teach someone who is completely green. But man, once you've had a helper with you for 6 or 8 months, then you start to be able. So it's like you said, you leapfrogged. I feel like it's like a year jump. If I had, in my mind, it's like a year jump from a green helper, maybe even more, but from having a green helper to having someone like you that learned some of the professional skills at the same time, at least. And I should bring up Jose's question here. He says, does the curriculum have a business focus portion as well? And I'm just pulling from what you said, Adam, that it seems as though it does, because it kind of helped you with the mindset. But those things make, I mean, it's more than a year maybe in Leapfrog. I went through some, and the point I was getting at is I went through so many helpers within the first 6 months. If somebody stayed with me till about 6 months, then it was usually a longer term relationship, or they turned into installers later on themselves, because I would exasperate them. I would wear them out.
Yeah, it's huge. And that's so, as the problem gets exasperated in that nobody's getting into it. Part of the problem was the installers. The installers were so sick of hiring guys that met a guy at the bar, and his sister has a kid that's living in her basement. Maybe he'll show up every day. I got to pick him up. But they would lose 6 months just trying to build a trust with these guys. And I've seen it, my first year I taught this, I didn't think that there would be kids that showed up that didn't know how to read a tape measure. I just didn't think they would sign up for a trade program. And I learned that the easy way by learning it the really hard way. When I told them to go rip some sheets of 1/4 inch and throw it in that module, and I was talking to another student, I heard that table saw whining and looked over at how that kid was cutting. I just panicked. And I had to start from, I just assumed that they had all gone through shop class, things like that. So it was an eye opener for me of when an installer hires these guys, when they're starting from just, hey, I hope he shows up, that's a lot different than with a guy like Adam that shows up, has a 10-week record of showing up on time every day, no matter what. And he has his hand tools. And then when a guy like Daniel's looking over at him, I mean, Adam's 3 months away from running his own carpet seams in a closet, and probably could do it right now. And I don't know if he's a year away from running them right down the center of a room with low light into a pattern carpet. I mean, that's the key, where if we, like as store owners, from my perspective, if you say, what's going to happen? Well, it can't be all on the installers to hire and fire these guys constantly. If we're providing something where these guys hire them, and I think you guys saw it in the article, but Ranieri Flooring hired one of our kids, Shad, out of the first course. And he told me, he's like, I'm used to losing $100 a day for 6 months. And he's like, I was making money off your guy on week 2. So
yeah, I mean, what more testimony do the dealers, and this is really obviously in the beginning, you got residential and commercial, that obviously pretty heavily focused on residential, but residential dealers what you just said, I don't know how much more impactful of a testimony you could have. I was making money on him in week 2.
Yeah, we get asked a lot about that, about residential versus commercial. This is elementary. We're not even getting into those. We have so much more that we can build into these opportunities. Look, we got the door open at the colleges. We've got the door open now at 5 high schools as well. We can continue to build on this, and that's what we expect to be able to do. But I'm glad
to get back to your question about the business portion of it. That's not necessarily in the FCF curriculum. I just took that as a 2 or 3 day kind of a job focus of, I'm not teaching them how to write a business plan, but here's what a business plan looks like, and here's what you should be doing. And what we tried to teach everybody through the whole class, when you're using free material, free time, is you don't know how lucky you are that you just cut that piece of marmoleum wrong in my shop, right? I tried to teach them, like, listen, guys, everybody gets this on their 3rd year of install, where they get that huge, huge bill from the IRS. Pay your quarterly estimated taxes. Hey, when your buddy says, oh yeah, this truck was a tax write-off, does he even know what the hell he's talking about? And so we just tried to build something like that in them, and then just give them the basics of some sort of investing for retirement, so that they don't end up the 56-year-old installer that has to quit. His knees are so bad, he can't help himself, and he's got to keep going to work every day. And like in my market, where the median income is 59, well, when my head installer is making 186, he's 36 years old. He should be really, really thinking about retirement, because the one thing that will go before the mind is the body. And it in this industry. That's what got my dad out of it. That's what got my grandpa out of it. And unfortunately, that's what got me out of it.
Yeah, I installed for a long time. If you consider installation years, especially in commercial, where you're running big runs of things, I did a lot of schools and hospitals. The body today, we have a better opportunity even for that. The personal protection that the flooring industry, from knee pads to just the ergonomics of the equipment, is far exceeds what I was using. And the methods, I mean, we were carrying like stupid stuff to get a job done. But so today it's a little bit better, and you may be able to last, but I think it's really valuable that at some point you're either going to be a high earning employee installer, or you're going to be a high earning sub. And either way, you need professionalism, you need a great attitude, you need a standard in yourself of showing up on time. Like we track certain metrics at Trade Tap through the VTI, professionalism, attitude, punctuality, dependability, quality, communication. Those things are fundamental to your success, regardless of whether you stay as a installer for a long time, because a lot of guys don't like to get off their knees. We got plenty of guys that who want to come and be PMs or project managers at my flooring company, and they're like, "Well, how much does it pay?" And we're like, "Well, it pays this," and they're like, "Oh, well, shit, that's a huge pay cut." Well, yeah. I mean, installers can do very well for themselves. I did certainly, and but learning to get those taxes, I cannot tell you how many. If I've heard one story, and I've got friends, multiple friends that ran through that problem. So taking care of that. And Adam, I'm glad you're learning that at this stage of your career, because with your attitude and your humbleness, you're going to go a long way. I was not like you. I was not humble. As soon as I put together my first team, I was like, I'm the greatest in the world. Right now, I'm the best. And everybody, you guys know it. And
Right.
I ran through helpers like crazy, not only because of the arrogance, but more so because they felt like it was a dead end thing. Because for 6 months, if like I said, if you made it for that 6 months, I would start. I felt like I could start using them in a more productive manner. But until then, it was like they were just another tool in the toolbox, which is exactly what I had been told when guys quit. It's like, dude, I'm just your runner. I don't do nothing other than pick stuff. You can have your 8-year-old kid do this. So I lost good
Right.
guys because of it. And you're learning the right way.
And Alan says, some good things right here too. When you were talking about, how you gain that confidence, so you kind of did go into working in the job site, like, I got this, right? You get that confidence, but then you said you were humbled when you're like, oh, maybe I don't know as much as I thought I did, right? And then that's apparently Paul Stewart joined too. That might be my brother. But he said that, when you are on the path that you're on, when you're like, I'm going to learn, I'm going to keep on being better, what ends up happening a lot of the times is you end up surpassing who you're working for, and then you just go either find someone else to work for, or that's when you just part ways, and then you're like, well, if I'm already better than you, that means I can do this by myself.
Well, you said it earlier, Paul, when you made the comment that you did a survey out to the industry, and I did one right when we first started, just to installers asking about certification. It's amazing how many installers have no idea what certification is. They will claim a certification on a class they went to, So I think, one of the things we talked about with the business stuff, we talked about that in the very beginning. We talked about having a little bit of that, but we didn't want to lead that student away from there thinking they were ready to go, start their own business. That was not our plan to begin with. But we do have some schools that have those basic business classes that do have OSHA 10 training in their classes now, and that are kind of, including those in the training. I think that it's important to really understand that. Could you imagine if we could qualify and quantify how many people we've lost in this industry that went upside down that first 5 years?
Yeah, I can
It's
only imagine that number, first off. Secondly, like people who do not have a good path, like the FCF to come in. That's what I'm trying to drive home to our audience is the path of, like, if I was hiring it, and it would be a good time for me to mention like placement and one of our products being Jumpstart to get these young guys placed. That's going to be a better place to find somebody. But when I was hiring, it was just like Chad said. You might hear of the buddy at the bar sister's son that you know
Yeah.
is looking for a job, and the problem is they're, whether or not they're good enough to do the job or to be a good helper aside, most installers don't give them a chance because of what I just laid out. So these
You can't
programs,
see it
this
in
type of
somebody's
program
hand.
for Adam, like is monumental in the success once they get on the project of having some staying power. I mean, I do have a question for you, Adam, real quick. One of the things that I loved and I still love, and one of our audience members, Rollin, mentioned, but I still love doing it. He says, I always loved looking at the finished product as an installer. Like when it was done, do you get that satisfaction when you stand back and you're like, whew, that looks so good?
Oh man. Yeah. Yesterday, for example, we were in a assisted living home tearing out some carpet that had been peed on by dogs for probably 10 years. Just the nastiest, the most
It's a good
disgusting
start.
apartment I've ever been into. You tear it all out, you scrape up all the glue, get all the floor relayed with underlayment, put down brand new carpet with new base. The walls are painted. You leave that spaces. Oh my goodness, it just looks so good. And then like you're putting on base, and you make that outside corners look so nice, and it sits nice and tight against the wall. And you're like, yeah, last time it did not look that good. It's getting better and
Yeah.
better. And then the installer comes over and says, okay, now try doing this. And you're like, well, that's pretty hard. And then you got to figure that one out. And it's a huge challenge, but it's also really satisfying when you can overcome those challenges. It's awesome. And if you can stick through that nasty peed on stuff, and you could just walk out. But if you can kind of just buck up a little bit and wait, it gets so much better.
Yeah.
I think we've all had installers walk off those jobs.
Plenty of times it's
Yeah.
been like, I can't believe I am in this position.
I know.
However, there's also jobs you walk on, you're like, oh, this could be gravy, baby.
Yeah.
So it comes and goes. But one of the coolest things about your story and about how you kind of came through the industry is just showing that you're a product of what a concerted effort with some mindfulness and a great curriculum and some good people can do for both the youth, but as well as an industry as a whole. Like your path is like the happy path to flooring. And I hope I asked that question earlier about like really looking at a floor and being like, oh yeah, that looks great. Because that is one of the things that kept me in it for so long. And I still get out. And when we have a challenging job or something, a cool project going on, I want to get out and see it. That's something I love. I've talked to Daniel about it before, and I know he takes a lot of enjoyment in that finished product. That's one of the benefits of being in flooring is we're supposed to be the last ones, but we are one of the latter trades, and you get to see this whole project kind of come together and start to round out right in front of your eyes.
Well, and you're creating so my two best installers they're both younger guys. But if I ask them how that big 50 by 70 rectangle click together job went, they say it was boring.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, they made a pile of money. And to them, that's boring. So when they get that house that has an inlay in the sitting room or the library, that's when they start geeking out about stuff. And that's the kind of passion that my dad had and that we were missing for so long. And I think it's just when that constant, everybody's been in that relationship with that girlfriend or boyfriend where it's constantly a fight, where it almost becomes easier if it is a fight. And that's where I kind of wanted to ask Daniel a few questions, is like where we've had our success is truly treating it like a partnership. In our market, they're all independent contractors. But if I send Adam's crew out on that piss job, he's going to have about 6 jobs in a row that are sweet. And when that apartment unit calls me back again, I'm not sending Adam back there just because he did a good job. It's somebody else's job to take the piss job, right? What do you see as, because I'm sure you've experienced that with other stores where there's a break between the installers and the store owners.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about the number one ways that make you guys feel welcome, or that the relationship works that stores can kind of work on with installers?
With us, I think, when we're doing the labor only stuff, it's the stores that we have the best relationship with. It's never them telling us what to do. It's always them asking us, hey, what should we do here? What should we do there?
Yeah.
Because they look at us as the professionals and not, hey, go do this because this is what I'm telling you to do. Right.
Yeah.
So not only that, we call each other partners.
Yeah.
We don't say, we're a subcontractor. It's like, no, we're partnering because you need me, I need you. Right. So it's always that partnership. So it's coming to that mutual agreement and then having those tough conversations when it is like, hey, man, like sometimes you are going to run into those jobs, and sometimes, you know, I am going to make those up, right? Like you had that super sweet easy job, that super boring job where you made tons and tons of money, right? This one right here, I think salespeople just need to know that sometimes you got to say, hey, I kind of messed up on this one a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's hard to, you know, to come to terms with that. You know, they don't want to be
It's
like, I messed anything up, but it's the truth. The fact of the matter is people mess up, right? And you got to be humble enough to be like, hey, I messed up on this one. Can you help me out? And
you
then those are
nailed that.
those same relationships where when they come to you like that, on the next one, he's like, hey, like, and this has happened where he's like, hey, remember that? Bill me this much extra on this job, and
Yeah.
then this much extra on this job to start making up for that. And
Yeah.
it's those kind of partnerships that you really, really strive for, right?
Well, and we've seen that in my industry. We have, you know, because of that wonderful show Yellowstone on TV, we've had an influx in certain parts of our state. Well, as that has started to slow down, we'll get guys that'll come in and throw their business card on my desk and be like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm from Bozeman. I do click together vinyl plank and glue down carpet tile, but I only do big jobs. And when I throw their card away, they say something like, well, it must be nice. And I just look at them and I say, what kind of a son of a bitch would I be if I had Adam go tear out do that sheet vinyl in a clawfoot tub yesterday, and I wait till I get these big square open flat jobs, and I'm going to call the guy out of Bozeman? Bullshit. These are my jobs where I look at them and I'm measuring it, and the guy starts coming up in my head. Oh, I remember when Johnny tore out that carpet.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember when Taylor did that job on the 4th floor and the elevator was out. You know, those are how I've always thought of those jobs. And so I'm glad to hear, you know, everyone can convince themselves they're doing things the right way, but I'm glad to hear from an installer because it's changed our business.
And that's why I want to kind of address this comment right here from Kevin. He said, if they are independent, they are not your partners. But I don't agree, because I don't work for Roberts, but I use their stuff. So guess what? We're partners too. And that's how you got to look at
yeah,
things.
maybe
You
not
don't
partners
have
in
to-
the traditional sense of
Right.
the word of like business partners on a business level, but you are damn sure partners in getting that project done. I mean, what else would you refer to them as?
Well,
Like-
and you like who has like in my office world, I have somebody that answers the phone, does the estimates, hound dogs out the jobs for you, and at the end, I'll pay you whether I get paid or not. So I'm also your accountant and your billing agent, right? So if there is a claim, I got to file the claim, I got to do it. So it is absolutely a partnership, and I've never seen it go successful the other way. Like we've had stores that just keep a list and they hand it to the customer. Hey, call whatever installer you want. Those stores go away so quick because without that collusion with each other, knowing that, hey, I got to pick up my daughter on the 3rd day. Can you cover for me? Can you do this? Without that partnership, I mean, it's nothing, and it makes everybody's job so difficult. If I show up on Monday and I know that 3 of my partners are showing up, but that one guy I had to hire loosey-goosey, that not really the guy I like very much, I've been thinking about him since Friday at 5 o'clock, wondering if his ass is going to show up on Monday. Mm-hmm. Well, when we start getting slow, that guy ain't around because he's not a partner. He becomes a goon, really. Like he just becomes the guy that I call when I need something.
A mirror fogger is what we call them, Chad. You know, we didn't talk about this part of it because we really don't think about it. And I think because sales is such a huge part of my career, is that this class we had, and I think Roy would attest to this, we had salespeople take this basic floor covering installation class. We're missing that relationship between sales and the installer. And because I started out with installation and developing those, I will tell you, because of that relationship, that partnership is why I was able to be successful in sales. I had installers I could call on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. If I had an emergency, they would take care of it for me if at all possible. They also knew if they needed extra floor prep that I wasn't going to question them, that there was a trust, there was a partnership there. In fact, in March of last year, I received a text from a guy in Nashville that I used a lot, and he sent me a picture of his new toy, and he said, "Thank you for all the years working with me, and because of all of that work you gave me, I was able to buy this new toy, and it's a yellow Lamborghini." So, the money is definitely there when you work together. And I think more salespeople need to be taking this kind of training, not just to understand product, but to understand through the eyes of the installer what they're going to see and how to best build out those projects.
I completely agree with you, and I think
Yeah, it'd be great if
I've said
every
this many
salesperson
times,
went
right?
through that, right?
Where the salesman, right, where they're having issues and issues and issues, and it's like, well, did you vet the installer? No, he
Yep.
said that he could do this, and it's like, and then they're taking they're giving bottom of the barrel pricing, and it's like it, and that's where I always say, just it sounds like you got what you paid for. To be honest with you,
Well, I measured every one of my jobs. I was on that job. I understood floor prep. I developed enough confidence with my install crews. Not only did I just sell the project, I was out once a month. I was out of the office helping bring in tile, helping to tile around fireplace surrounds or backsplashes, or, doing things that, would at least let me gain the knowledge of the installation so I could continue that partnership and better support my customer in the long
yeah,
run.
and we talked
That's how.
about this pretty extensively at Ties, right? Because I was watching Hudhead do some demonstrations over at the CFI booth, and while he was doing it, people were coming and asking questions and stuff, and I was like, honestly, like I don't do this. I went and got certified because if I'm selling something, I want to know what I'm selling. I want to know what it takes, and it does it gives you that knowledge to be like, oh, this is why they're complaining about pricing, or this is why and it's not necessarily complaining, it's just letting the salespeople know that, hey, I don't think you understand how much this stuff really takes.
So we
Well,
did that in the class that Adam can kind of talk about. We went through and pulled out we would do a takeoff for a tile job, and then we would see who got it right, see who got it wrong based on square footages, and then we'd break out the labor, and then we'd break out what the store's portion of that was. So if it costs the store this much money, here's the difference between markup and margin, and at the end of the day, this is what you made as the installer, and this is what you made as the store. Now that number seems surprising to people that are like a young man like Adam. Well, man, the installer made a lot of money. Well, of course, we're running 9 installers a day. That's what it takes, right? But where I really saw their eyes light up is what it looks like when you think you're making $100,000 a year and you start adding in that truck payment and that helper you paid. And when we put it up on paper and it's like, all right, Adam Miller Flooring LLC did 125,000 and his take home was 32 grand. You just saw those guys' eyes light up and go, oh, all right. So maybe Adam, you can talk to that a little bit. Did the class give you a little bit of not just here's how to spread glue and here's how to do stuff, but it gave you a peek into the other side of it a little bit?
Absolutely. First of all, give me gratitude for like the store that I work for how much they do for us as installation crews to be able to provide good jobs that make good money. And I work on a crew with 2 other guys, so they between the 2 of them, they are splitting it, and then my pay gets take out of their pay, and they're still doing well for themselves. And that gave me a lot more respect from the business aspect of that. While the store is making money off of us, it's not necessarily a greed battle of who's making more money and why I should be making more money. It's more about, like you're talking about, that relationship. You guys explain that very well at this school, of the relationship between a store, the business professionals, or the salespeople, excuse me, and the flooring installers, and how all those work together as a team. And we would write out those plans of square footage for a carpet job or a tile job, and then take out our take home with it and our markup, and then the store's take home. And it's super eye opening to see that on paper, but it's even more eye opening than to go onto a job site and be like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
right.
I can tell exactly how much money we're making per square foot, and that really shows to like the level of like what they're expecting us. They're going to pay us that much, so we better do that good of a job, and we better do a job that we can continue to be paid like that. So I think that's something. I don't know if I answered your question or not. That's kind of
No, it did.
Yeah. Well, it shows that you have a, I mean, I think one of the goals is to have a common knowledge of that stuff and you'll build it as you go. But if nobody sparks it for you, you may not learn those lessons and be one of those poor souls that, you know, do very well for themselves and then get caught up in, you know, the tax problems, or they're not really looking at, okay, I make this much, these are my expenses. It's one of the things I'm really passionate about at Trade Tap is trying to continue to build things that will help the installer to understand their business a little bit better. We got some great stuff later on down the road that I'll talk about later, but it's having that common that starting point of what it takes to be a profitable installer. It's not I made $1,000, you know, today or whatever, and that's my money. Like there's things that come out of that. And the sooner you know that, the better you're gonna, if you launch your own installation crew in the future or what have you, you'll have that groundwork to work off of.
I think the other thing with that, Paul, too, is that we hear so much in the industry from the installation side of just the fighting with the dealers. You know, the dealers making all the money. Well, by understanding that whole dynamic, it makes you understand, look, there's a lot of overhead in being a dealer. It's not an easy as it's $100,000 job and 40,000 of it goes to labor and the rest of it's, you know, the dealers. That just is a misunderstanding of how the
If only it
Yeah, a
was
lot
that
of
easy,
people
right?
look at the top end number and think, oh, the rest is yours. Well, they forget you actually had to buy the materials. You had to, you know, ship them to the job site and unload them and warehouse them and pay for, you know,
And then all that's
a
out
lot
of
of the
pocket before you
retailers.
even step foot on the job site.
well,
They're all investments. And then,
even a year afterwards. I mean, if you're carrying a warranty with it, you know, that installer's long gone. That dealer's still standing there. If anything,
well, hopefully the good installers are not long gone because we really hold the feet to the fire on that stuff.
yeah,
But that's also what helps them to improve is that you make sure they know they're going to have to, you know, take care of any warranty items. But I was going to also say, I mean, I'm not a retailer. I'm a commercial dealer, so I don't have to anything back here that you see in the background. I don't have to buy any of that. But many retailers have to buy their displays, or they got to invest some level of money, or these types of things. And the building's not free, so there's all these buckets that money has to go into. I did want to. We're nearing the end. Believe it or not, that was
That was super fast. That
quick
was
one.
probably one of the
Jeez
fastest
Louise.
episodes. Like it went by
Well,
super
Paul,
quick.
before you cut anything off, I just want to where Adam is going to be a real success in this business is my dad's best installer growing up was Vince Kermerick. And Vince Kermerick would sweep your carpet instead of vacuum it, and he would leave a rose magnet with his card on there. And Vince is not installed in my lifetime at Floors More, 15 years, and people call and ask for Vince. My guy now, John, he drives a brand new truck, brand new trailer, and he's nice to everybody. You could literally tear him up and down, and he would look you right in the eye and smile. And when everybody else is slow, he's still 4 weeks out. And we just get jobs where people say, hey, I'm good for those next 4 rooms, but just make sure you send that guy with the black truck. So from an installer standpoint, there's a little bit to learn from it. You're still in the customer service business, no matter what you say. And when it's really busy, yeah, you're busy. But when it's slow and you're the only guy pulling your truck up behind that store that time of year, that's how you know that you're doing the right job.
Yeah, I dropped off there for a second. I heard everything, but for whatever reason, I dropped off. That point that is why when like our platform, it does not
Must be that time.
track. It only tracks. It doesn't only track quality, right? All those metrics I mentioned earlier have more to do with you being a nice person to deal with and giving the customer a good experience. And then one item has to do with your quality. Not the quality is not important because it's the linchpin, meaning you can be the nicest guy and best attitude, be punctual and everything. And then if that one fails, the whole job is a a failure, right?
Correct.
If you don't do a good install. So it is the most important one, but there's so many other things that will make you successful on top of your quality installation. So learning that as a young person and getting that ingrained into you is that you're delivering a service and you are delivering an experience. And if you can deliver an experience that is better than a competitor, you're going to win out most of the time,
Every time,
regardless of price. So
time.
yeah, the last thing I want to do is just one last little touch on this relationship versus partnership. I think they're one and the
because
same.
Kevin won't let it go.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, not in the legal sense of the word. And I am a company owner. It does not offend me at all. It actually makes me see how much of an investment they're putting out on the job sites for my projects, and that they're treating the job like I would treat the job if I'm there. I look at it as partnership. The vernacular doesn't really matter. The key is that you have a good relationship where the installer is going to put their best foot forward, not just for money, but because they respect other people. They respect, heck, the end user. If nothing else, they want to turn over. I mean, I know guys that they've been on jobs and it's just one of them tough ones. In commercial, you can get electricians and plumbers in your way and all this stuff's in your way, and it's a struggle just to get square footage down in a day. But they don't just throw it out the window and start having a shitty attitude and not doing a good job, because they actually care about the end user and they care about me and our company having a good face forward. So they deal with it. And again, it goes a long way, Chad, when you remember that and you're like, man, he was on a toughie. I'm going to make sure he gets one that's crisp in the future.
It's everything.
Well, and I want to say one thing, because when we first started, one of the things we wanted to do is elevate this career path to what it should be. It takes skill to do this. This is not going to be maybe some LVP will be a DIY, but the pride that a brick mason, in my lifetime, a brick mason it came with some of that acknowledgement of what that skill set. That's what we're trying to drive back in the installation and just in our industry. So we have to demand quality. We need education. We need training, and they need support if we're going to have better talent and a stronger industry moving forward.
And I can't pop up. Go ahead.
I think we need guys. Sorry.
I'm really going to let you go this time.
Okay. I think we need guys like Adam, because one of my biggest surprises when I came over to my dad's business was we did a tile job and we said, oh, we got to send Sean over there to tuck the carpet. I just never thought when somebody says he's a tile guy that he would call the store and say, send your carpet guy over to tuck the carpet at a doorway in the hallway. It's just not reasonable, man. You are a tradesman, right? So at least if Adam got through that class and said, yeah, maybe tile's the thing that I'm going to live the rest of my life off, and I absolutely love it. He at least got that idea of here's where the tack strip goes, here's how you kick it in, and don't make the salesperson crawl around on the floor and ask or be unfair to your carpet guy that has to go over there on Saturday and tuck some carpet for
and do one doorway
cash and a case of beer. It's like, it ain't fair, man. Be a tradesman.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, you can be a specific. Go ahead, Daniel.
We can't see the stuff on Instagram, right? So I'm just gonna kind of go over some stuff over here because they're talking about partners over here too, and then getting back to the expenses that you were talking about, right? Because a lot of salesmen, they don't see the expenses. So just letting everyone know how really expensive it is to run your own installation outfit, and how basically the money should just not be flowing to the dealer. It should be going to the installer. And that's what you're kind of working up to become that partner that person needs. And also that customer satisfaction is the number one end goal. Totally.
And the installers especially, we've said this year over year, and we talked to Adam and guys about it ad nauseum, but me selling Kay a $40 a square foot carpet means absolutely nothing unless I have that guy that can put in that carpet. So everybody knows that,
Chad,
but we also have to be cognizant of the fact that you've seen the stuff that you're getting feedback on Facebook and the stuff you're getting feedback on Instagram. It's under the impression that the salespeople don't know that. Like when you say, hey man, you made 180 and they say, well, yeah, I got to pay taxes. I know you got to pay taxes, man. And that's where we're trying to get the bridge with these guys, is that students like Adam know that the stores understand it, and the stores know that the installers understand it, that we all know that it's none of our jobs are cake. Even though you're on your hands and knees and I know it's tough work, the installer, the sales guy thing isn't cake either. You don't want to argue for 20 minutes.
I was just telling people like once you become an installer, it's easy. This is easy to work with this. And then once you start using this, it's like, man, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, man. I went 2 hours over the colors of beige on a 6x6 bathroom. Right? I had samples out of cabinet doors I had in the basement over a 60 square foot bathroom. It's part of the job. I like it, but it ain't easy. There's no doubt. You know?
But Chad, what you just gave me is hilarious, because what I always said is I can sell you $180 a yard wool. See, my price is a little higher than yours, but if I can't install it, it has no value. No value. Right. So that's
every time I walk through the shows, that's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what you said. Beautiful tile, or this is beautiful carpet. But it just doesn't matter if it's not done properly. If it's not installed properly, it doesn't matter how pretty it looks on that display. You get it in properly, improperly installed or looking terrible. Well, it's just, you can take $180 a yard product and make it look like $8 a yard.
Yeah, well,
and have some care in training from an installer standpoint too, where we hired a young salesperson one time, and the last company had taught him to flip closets. Just flip them, flip the closets. Who cares about the closets, right? Well, Vince took him out there and showed him, like, see what this looks like when you run it against the grain? Nobody had ever taught that poor guy that, right? Because he came from a bad store. He came from a store that didn't care about the installers, and just seeing him look at that and go, oh, I get it, right? And that took no time out of the installer. He didn't call him a soft hand. He didn't tell him this kid don't know what he's doing. He just walked back to the office and goes, hey, come with me. I got to show you something. And you should have seen his face when he came back. He's like, I can't believe that. Like, I can't believe how long I've been doing that. I'm thinking of all the jobs in this town that have their carpet turned the opposite way in the job,
Well, and I think what we've talked about here is something we could definitely spend hours and hours talking about, but we're a very segmented industry. We all work in our own little silos. But if you want to be successful, you'll align yourself with the best. That's whether salesperson, that's the store, that's the installer, and you all work together in unison, and then you protect the customer, you protect yourself, and you deliver a beautiful product. And I think that's the silliness of some of this. Is so simple, but when all we do is just talk about how hard it is for one aspect of it, it takes all of it coming together to work together to be successful.
Yeah, so my brother does ask some questions here. I mean, he says we need a program that allows an upcoming installer to spend a week or two with the company to practice their other disciplines for more experience. And then also, how can smaller outfits like us create a relationship with the FCEF in order to facilitate the installers that want to find placement?
So I can take the first one. You can do what Adam does. You can take business classes at night from BYU online, and you can call and ask big stores and little stores. I mean, Adam's training himself at night. He's going to business. What is it, Adam? Business management school?
Yeah, business management. Getting a bachelor's degree in business management.
That's awesome, man. Then I mean, even the installers here, we tell them it's not just learning while you're on the job. It's what you do outside of the job is what's going to push you forward. And you're already on that path, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, and he's at the point where he doesn't, and we've seen this a lot in the industry. Daniel, we've seen this a lot, and I think Paul has too. But I've heard a lot in the industry when I'm at Surface is this person doesn't respect me, that person doesn't. Anybody that's ever told me I don't respect them hasn't earned respect. Adam was so far ahead of some of these kids while also going to business school. And because the respect was mutual, there was no need to say, this guy doesn't know how good I am. This guy doesn't respect me for this. Everybody has been in those good relationships where you feel it, and it gets said inevitably, but just by the way you treat each other, So if you're in a position where you feel like that store's not respecting you or giving you the wrong stuff, you've got to take it upon yourself to just look at that guy and go, hey man, I've got to go to greener pastures if it's truly eating away at you that much.
Well, and I think you can see it in comments, and we're exposed to it a lot. But the industry needs healing. There is, because of this, the years of the something really happened when subcontracting became the majority of the installation. The contention between the labor and the store. I mean, you can even read into some of the comments, whether it's on here or on Instagram. It's like, we all have to make money. That's the bottom line. And we need to come together. And another reason why I think partnership is a decent way is we try to create opportunities for our guys to both learn, but we've had guys that have tough weeks or tough months, and we help them financially. Like that's pretty close to a partnership. That being said, the contention between a dealership or a store and a installer, I contend that it's the age of the installer. We're in the process right now at my flooring company of getting rid of about 80% of our workload that is in the center of the business, meaning your submittals, your transmittals, your billings, your ordering, all that stuff. AI is eating that alive right now. I see it in real time, and it actually works. And what are we going to have left? And I did a whole talk about this, or a speech at convention about this, is that we're going to have our installation and our relationships with those guys, and the quality that and the effort we as stores and them as installers pour into each other for the benefit of the end user. And then you're going to have your relationships on the front side of that get you the opportunities. But that middle part is getting eaten alive. I mean, even retail stores, I was reading a few months back how the online flooring orders are up like 25 or 28% in 2025.
Right.
So, like, I'm not saying that we're all out of business. I'm just saying the focus that we have is our community or our customers and our installers or our labor, and focusing on the front and the back side of the process is where success is found. And I do believe that, a lot of the installers in the world are, and people looking to get in installation like you, Adam, this is the best time. Like, we, not only does the industry need it, but I really believe that the installers' stance in the industry is getting more and more and more prevalent. We're building the whole company around it, for goodness sakes, and talking with manufacturers and training entities and all the stakeholders in our industry. It's clear to me that the age of the installer, like where they are, I hearken to this a lot. A guy, Mark at the NTCA, used to tell a story. He probably still does, about when his great grandfather, his grandfather would walk onto a job, and he shows a picture, and they're dressed to the nines, man. Like, they got a vest on and this little half tie thing, and they look like super professional. He's like, yeah, back then he'd tell me stories about walking onto a job site. Now this is commercial kind of feeling, but still no different in residential, I would think. And you're highly respected. You are one of the highest skilled, hand skills, measuring, all these things in the building. And hearkening back to that, like the pride and the earning ability of that guy that treats him, who presents himself in a professional manner, cares about the customer. Roy said earlier, punctuality is like I forget the exact quote, but it essentially is one of them big things. You're there on time. You can be relied on. Those things fell off. I mean, I've dealt with guys, all the horror stories you can ever think of. And today it just seems like it's getting a little bit better. It's
You're
getting a
nailed
little
that.
bit better.
You nailed it. And like when I was catching myself getting a little frustrated with some of the comments. I'll be honest. I haven't had that in 11 years. There's just a harmony in our business. And granted, I was lucky, I was blessed, I was raised by installers. But some of the comments, like the partnership one, and I'm not harking on him too much, I remember that thought in my head. And your initial thought in your head is, this guy's going to tell me how to do my job. Well, I'll show him. Guys like Adam, when they go through schools like this, that's why we're specific to what installers we bring around them. They hopefully in their career, they never have to feel that. And if they ever feel it, that they know enough to be like, okay, this is not the store for me, right? But
or they're equipped to deal with it.
They're totally equipped to deal with it and be able to say, hey, it's me, Adam. I'm on my third cat piss basement in a row, man. I feel like you're using me a little bit, And I hope that it goes.
We need the easy ones too.
In this industry.
When you said something a while ago, Paul, you were talking about the way that we've always done business, and again, we realized growing up. I know that this is really something that should have been put in place a long time ago, but we're trying to play catch up. And you know what? Right now is the perfect time because we're not the only industry hurting. There's construction, there's carpentry, there's lineman school, I can go through all these things. So right now is the time. The timing's perfect. We're attracting amazing talent through these college systems, through these high school programs. We're making ourselves known, but we have to change the way we do business. AI is going to change it for us, but we've got to start changing. That's one of the reasons we're working on. We just received a grant. We're going to be working on building out an online gaming VR program with this, like we did in Alabama. We're not just looking at one avenue to deliver everything that we need to be delivered. We work with SkillBridge, which is military, bringing the veterans in. We work with just found out last week from North Carolina senator that we are now going to be a sponsor on one of their workforce development bills. So the floor covering industry's voice is getting stronger, but not because we're doing something magical. It's just the time's right. Everything's perfect, and we're moving forward with being able to hopefully support the future of the industry.
And there's some leaders out there doing some things. I've had one of the things that tick me off maybe the most is listening to people talk about the problems and like they're not doing nothing about it. And that's fine. I can handle that part. But then not supporting people who are doing something about it is another level of frustration for me. So I've watched it. I've been building, our company that is all labor supportive for 8 years now. I mean, time flies. But at the end of the day, you realize that there's plenty of talkers, there's plenty of people, but everybody, and this is the point, everybody wants something to happen. And I think what's finally going is there's a little bit of fire catching. Yeah. And you can see it, and it makes me really excited. I go to Tyson, talk to all the people, and I'm like, I can see the fire, like the kindling is lit, and I really do. I do think it's a really pristine time to get into the trades, and I think get back to that good old day where we're highly respected. My uncle growing up was a superintendent, and he traveling superintendent for a large commercial builder. We thought he was freaking the cat's meow, dude. I mean, he was my dad's twin brother. He's passed since, rest his soul. But Uncle Larry, man, everybody looked up to. He was like the supreme guy. I mean, 40 years ago, the tradesmen were not looked at like they were second class. It was a
I'm glad I
profession.
wasn't sitting in the bathroom. I just realized my,
Your filter's off.
yeah, my
We can see
filter's
how
off.
messy your office is.
Yes, sorry. I, guys, I just want to finish and answer Daniel's question about how do you get involved with FCEF. Look, we will work with you. I mean, I think even Jose and I've had some conversation about trying to get some local schools involved. Do what Chad's doing. If you need help finding a local college, the curriculum that we have built has to be handled through a public school system. It's not something I can just give to Chad and say, Chad, here, go build your, because
Run it.
Yeah, it's actually something that has to go through the school system, but that keeps us from doing all kinds of things out here that could actually hurt it. So give me a call, send me an email, let me know how I can help. Like I said, we've got 35 colleges as of right now, and the goal is to be in every state. And we're also working and trying to finish something up in Canada. So we want to be able to help and make this program, success everywhere.
Yeah, I think
Well,
we
in
can
closing, I'd
partner
like-
up on something.
Let's do it.
I'm just
You just have to
I
be
have
nice
to give
to me.
Kevin
We're
so
just
much
kidding
crap
with.
right now. I'm gonna give
Hey,
Kevin
you
crap
you
because
know we know what you're saying, brother. Yeah,
Because
the heart's
then
in the
he's
right
like,
spot.
do we
Obviously.
require training or certifications for our partners, right? And the crazy thing is that I've actually met a lot of the people that work for us as partners, either at a certification or they came to me looking for certification. And one of them was actually in one of the certifications that I was teaching. So there
Well,
is
we
something
require
there, right?
our
And
guys to be teachable, so willing to go get trained, willing to go do
Right.
that stuff. So
and
it
he
is
did say
time to close. Go
didn't
ahead.
mean to make anyone upset.
Oh, we're mad, Kevin. We're
Well,
mad.
he just says that they're subs and they need to be identified as such and not use partners. Like I said, the word carries weight. Your message
Fair
is
enough.
right. And that's the thing is that's why we stopped using sub, because that means that they're lower than us. But if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't get this project, right? And if it wasn't for us,
Well,
they wouldn't get this project. So
and you can go
we're
back
kind of
and forth.
equals.
You can go back and forth because the word sub does mean lower tier contractor, and that's why we, as a flooring contractor, are considered a subcontractor, and then our subs are considered third tier subcontractors to a GC. But all that said, I want to
Before you go, Paul, I
close
gotta
this out.
know because Adam hasn't told me this yet. What's next for Adam?
What's next
Yeah,
for me?
Adam, what's next for you?
Well, I think to kind of sum that up, also with everything you guys have been talking about with why trades matter, what's next for me is I'd like to be able to voice my experience thus far with more people my age and get people excited about getting into trades, specifically floor covering. As a career path, I'm going to make it a career path. I'm going to graduate this apprenticeship in a year and a half and then begin to install. As of right now, I don't know where. I plan on staying here in the Grand for a while. And when working through that, I'd like to open up my own installation crew. And I'd like to continue to take whatever opportunities I can get for growth and to honor the training that's got me to where I am and respect it to push me forward in the future. I don't want to forget where I came from. I don't want to get caught up in the stigma of all the money and the profit, but focusing really on what got me into this from the start was putting your name on something, appreciating that, and having the integrity to teach other people about it in a humble way that can keep you teachable, it can help you to improve, and working your hardest to do your best every day. That's really what I want. So as much as I can say for right now, the plan is to go out and apply everything that I've been learning.
Do you see
Well,
what we
I
did
am-
there, guys?
I
We
am
totally
blessed.
took the message of Adam
Me-
and we started complaining about subs and installers and stuff. And we have this kid right here. We could have made this
Yeah.
a 15-minute podcast.
Well, I tell you what, we're definitely going to want to have you back on, Adam, and keep in touch with you as you go through your career. And it's been really like energizing to listen to your experience, but also every time you talk, you start with a smile. Like you're just a good dude. I'm glad I've gotten to meet you. Hopefully, I'll get your contact info from Chad if that's okay with you. I'd love to keep in touch with you and
Of course.
see how we can help in any way to make some of those dreams come true alongside you. And just you're a breath of fresh air. There's a lot of those, but yeah, it's been a real blessing to have you on this podcast and get to share your story. It's
Yeah, I think it's
man, I love
great
it.
your attitude right now because that's what I tell people, right? It's like if you do the right thing, the money's gonna come, man. You just have to do the
Yeah.
right thing, and too many people are not trying to do it, but you're well on your way.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that. Thank you
so
so much. It means a lot.
thanks to everybody for joining us today. Chad, Kay, Adam, especially, young man. I really mean everything I said and look forward to chatting with you in the future. To all our audience in the comments, thank you for contributing today. Thank you for all the comments and all the questions. We didn't get to all of them, but that's what a great podcast will give you, is a really great conversation, good content. Hopefully everybody learned a little bit of something about how we can, there's organizations out there where we can participate and work together to, elevate our trade. And I look forward to, I am excited about 26. I'm excited about the future. And I really, Adam, you're one of the adders to that, is seeing guys like you. And I think that, Roy was saying it throughout the comments too, how much he likes to see the new guys coming up and building up. So what FCF is doing is making a difference. Let's find ways where we can work with them and partner with them and elevate them and work together to push the agenda forward. And yeah, if you are catching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, all you guys on Facebook and Instagram and such, make sure to leave us a comment. We're proud to say we are like really killing it on some of these platforms, and it's all because of you guys. So thank you so much for extending our reach. Thank you, Kay and Chad and Adam, for joining us today. And it was a wonderful conversation. And you know it when it goes an hour and a half, and it didn't seem like
I
it.
know,
So
and I was really nice today, Kay.
You were. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm glad that threat worked.
It did. Bet my arm backwards at
That's
ties.
all right. Well,
Thanks, guys.
we look forward to bringing more stories like Adam. Adam, you stay in touch because we're going to be using you a lot.
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you
you're
so
a
much.
good, you're a good example. All right. Thank you, everybody.